to the Devil Walks Among Us podcast. Join Michael and Eric as they discuss scary movies. What's your favorite scary movie?
And welcome everyone to another exciting episode on the Devil Walks Among Us podcast. As always, is Eric.
That's me.
And today we have an exciting guest from a movie that is, for generations, hands down, will always be remembered as one of the best horror movies that came out from the 90s. And we have a special guest with us today. Her name is Nancy Ann Ritter, and we'll let her discuss her character and what she did in the movie.
Hey guys, I did make it out of the bathroom finally. I've been stuck in the bathroom since 1996, but now with the 25th anniversary, I'm out. And yes, the bathroom scene, I was the girl in bathroom, and then Leonora was the blonde cheerleader. And I can't believe it's been 25 years. And I initially auditioned for the cheerleader. My audition was so bad. And then they offered me the girl in bathroom. So I was so excited to be a part of this amazing film. I remember when I first read the script, I was just floored because I thought it was so amazing and like nothing I'd ever read before. So yeah, I'm so excited when it happened in 1996, and then so amazed. My fan, the girl in bathroom fan base has just grown exponentially, and it's just been fun to be embraced by the whole horror film community. And then I just got a booking agent to start going to horror conventions in 2022. So
Nice. Oh, I said nice.
Oh, you sweet.
Nice.
Bless you.
Like Matthew Lillard. Nice.
Oh, right.
I say that like that because of Scream and him in that one scene.
I think he is, so every time I watch the film, like if it comes on cable, they're all so good, the main cast, but Matthew Lillard, just all of his, just everything about him and the noise so, everything's so great. Yeah, that he does. They're all so good.
All right.
So, being on Scream, when you did get that part and working with Wes Craven, what was like the experience? What was the atmosphere like, just filming with all these people that are just like, Wes Craven being the man that made Nightmare on Elm Street and things like that, just working with him and being in his presence? What was that feeling like?
Well, amazing, because he's such a gentle, warm, kind soul. I've worked with I come from the professional theater, so I've worked with directors who can be very bombastic and stressed out and lose their cool, and I don't mind that. Like, I kind of like tough love. But how I first met him was his assistant at the time. Her name's Julie Plec, Plec, and she's now a big, huge TV creator, executive producer. I think she's just now turning something out with Kevin Williamson, the writer of Scream, of course. Mm-hmm. So she and I went to Northwestern University, and she called me randomly one day at the beginning of '96 and asked would I like to be a female stand-in. They were screen testing the 5 actresses for the lead role of Sydney. And she said the average height is 5'7", and she asked, am I 5'7"? I said, yes. She's like, well, we'll pay you $75. So Wes, my first encounter with Wes was on this particular Saturday. And the first, I just kind of kept on the sidelines and just, nodded my head hello. And he was very focused on bringing in the 5 different actresses, one at a time. And then halfway through the day, and I was so shocked, Wes Craven turned around to me. Where I would stand the first half of the day was behind Wes, because he had a good view of his monitor, and then the 2 scenes beyond the monitor. And the 2 scenes he was having the actresses do were the first scene where Skeet crawls in through the window and they have the little G-rated top of the nightgown action. And then the second scene was the scene where the prank, where the killer calls Neve Campbell. So halfway through the day, Wes whips around to me and he said, do you know the lines to the two scenes? And since I'd been watching the different actresses do it throughout the day, I said, yes. And he gave me a little script just of the scene itself. And he went to go check on one of the actresses who was in hair and makeup. And when he came back in, he said, I want you to play Sydney for both scenes and just go through the scene and all the lines. And then they had a guy stand in for Skeet's part. And the reason he wanted that was just he was going to be moving the camera, different shots with the camera and lighting. So I was so excited. I didn't know that I would be actually needed in that way. But since I'm an actor, I remember watching the other actresses thinking, oh, what would I do if I were auditioning for Sydney? And the one little thing, so my first encounter with Wes just couldn't have been sweeter, nicer, very calm, a gentle soul. And then on a separate note, the little scene, bedroom scene, Kevin Williamson, some of the lines were different in the original script. So I don't know if you guys remember when Nev Campbell says to Skeet, oh, you thought you could sneak in my window and we'd have a little raw footage.
Yeah.
Okay. In the script, it was, so you thought you could sneak in my window and we'd have a little bump. So like hump, but bump. So I really tried to have fun with that. And then I finished both scenes, and then Wes beelined up to me and he shook my hand and he goes, that was excellent. And then he went to go, we were in a like big warehouse space. He went to go check on the next actress and he goes, have her read for one of the bathroom girls. So that's how that all happened. And once Wes kind of gave his stamp of approval, then the casting director, Lisa Beach, and some of the producers came running over and they said, once we finish casting the lead roles, we'll start bringing in actors for the smaller characters. So I felt so, I guess that this sounds cheesy, but I just felt so seen and beloved by Wes, because like the first half of the day, he was just focused on what he needed to focus on. And then when I went in for the audition for the cheerleader, usually when you first audition, it's just you and the casting director. And then if the casting director likes you, they'll bring you back. They'll start bringing you back for the producers and then Wes. But on this day, the casting director, her assistant, Wes Craven, and his producing partner, Marianne Madalena, they were all in there. And even though I knew them, I went and shook everybody's hands. And I didn't have a cheerleading outfit, so I wore a little black mini skirt and a little baby doll t-shirt that said, girls rule. And so when I went to shake Wes's hand, he started bowing. He was sitting and I'm standing. He started bowing to me. And I just was so taken aback by that. Like, what have I done? And then I didn't realize until I left the audition. I was like, oh, he's probably bowing because the t-shirt said girls rule. But I had a little brain delay, but I just couldn't, I've never been, I've been around great directors, but just his care of me and delight in me was really sweet. And then the next time I saw him was on the set for the bathroom scene. And I'm just making sure I turned, okay. For the bathroom scene. And by that point, I was so super nervous, like the other previous times with him, I just was very calm. And Leonora, the cheerleader, had grown up in the Pacific Palisades. Her mom was a movie actress. Her grandma was a movie actress. So Leonora, the cheerleader, really helped make me feel comfortable. And then with Wes, if I remember correctly, obviously been 25 years. I feel like the bathroom, it felt like rather than, I know the principal's office was in the same space. And when you look at, if you Google, you can see Fonzie's, Principal Hembree's office, and it's 3 walls. And then the front wall is no wall so that the cameras can be there. But when I remember going into the bathroom, it felt like it had 4 walls. So the only thing that was challenging for me was Wes was outside of the bathroom, so I couldn't, and coming from the theater, I usually with rehearsals could see, kind of could access where the director was. And so then I got extra nervous because he first did our wide shots, but just very gentle. And then when they removed each bathroom mirror to do the cheerleader and my close-ups and or my one close-up. And when he was first getting close-ups that he could pick and choose from for me, he came into the bathroom and he goes, "Nancy Ann, you look grotesque." And he said, "It looks like you're playing to a theater of 1,000, like a Broadway theater of 1,000 people." And he just kept saying, "Shave it, shave it." And I knew exactly what he meant. And I always liked directors being very direct. And so, but he couldn't, in answering Michael's original question, he had a little glint in his twinkle in his eye, and he knew I came from the theater. So he was being very gentle, but very direct, specific with what he needed. And then like on the "You're evil" line, I remember, and the "Cut some slack, she watched her mom get butchered," those two lines, he just really wanted very quiet and just shave, as he kept saying, just shave it down.
Mhm.
So once I kind of got my bearings on the set and we were already into the scene, then I don't know, he was a magical, because other interviews have asked me about Wes, and he just was a magical, nice man. The next time I was with him was at the wrap party. I got really wasted at the wrap party, and we all ended up, it was in a club, and then we all went back to the DoubleTree Inn, and we somehow ended up, Wes, everybody, cast and crew, in one person's hotel room with 2 double beds. And we weren't piled on the double beds, but I don't smoke, but I had a pack of cigarettes and I'm smoking away. And Wes just very quietly comes up and he's like, "Can I have a cigarette?" So it just, I don't know, he just was a really special person. I mean, I don't have the relationship like Nev Campbell and the main actors have with him. But the time that I did have with him, I always just felt very good in his presence, and just kind of he's very fatherly, and so it was a thrill for me, knowing obviously Wes Craven being such a big director in the horror scene. It was just a thrill. That was a very long answer, Michael, but I hope that covered it a little bit. But I was really shocked when I heard that he passed away, just because he was a really vibrant, alive guy. So that was a real shock for sure.
Yeah, I was actually recording on another podcast that night, and we were just setting up for it. And my co-host, she came in and was like, "Have you been on Facebook?" And I was like, "No, I haven't. I've been setting up." I was like, "Okay, well, stay off Facebook." Something, or I can't remember what she said, but basically she's like acting like this catastrophic thing happened, which of course, I mean, Wes Craven died, but had me worried. It's like, she's like, "Wes Craven died." I was like, "Oh crap." So I didn't really say much during that whole podcast. I'm just sitting there thinking about it, because
Yeah.
the movie that got me into horror movies was Wes Craven's New Nightmare, the one he did right before Scream. Or no, he did Vampire in Brooklyn before Scream. Then Wes Craven's New Nightmare before that. But yeah, it's because of him that I like horror movies. So
Well, my friend, so I am very much a virgin with horror movies. So I've never seen any of his nightmares, and the New Nightmare, of course. So I'm dying of, I think I'm going to start with Last House on the Left and The Hills Have Eyes, and then watch his nightmares. I do forget, my friend was in Vampire in Brooklyn. Her name's Simbi Callie, and she played, obviously she wasn't Angela Bassett, but I can't remember the name of her character, but she invited, we both went to Duke Ellington School of the Arts for high school. So I remember she invited me to the premiere, and so I remember that was the one Wes Craven movie I had seen right when Scream. Well, that's what I want to ask you. Did Vampire in Brooklyn come after Scream or right before
It was
Scream?
the year before. It was 95, I think. It was 95.
Okay, that's right. Okay. So yeah, all the stand-in stuff, all of that didn't happen, if I remember, until beginning of 96. So it seems kind of like a foreshadowing, having been at the premiere of Vampire in Brooklyn. But yeah, I'm really excited to dive into all of his films and everything because of the Screams. Of course, I've seen Scream 1. I saw Scream 2 in the movie theater, but I haven't seen Scream 3 and 4. And then I'm dying to see the new Scream, but I'm living with my parents who are 82 and 84. And I really wanted to, if COVID wasn't here, it was my mom's birthday on the January 14th. So I was like, oh, I wish we could all three go to see it the first night in the movie theater, but I just was too nervous for their sake if they picked up COVID. If I were living, I'm going to be moving back up to New York City, but if I were living by myself in New York when it came out, I would have gone with friends. But I did make a friend. I won't say spoilers, but I did have a friend. I was like, just tell me everything about about the new one. But yeah, it'll be so exciting when I can finally go see it.
Yeah, it's coming out. I was actually going to ask you because I had a question in regard to the new one, because there's a certain character that kind of harkens back to the first one. But you haven't seen it, and I don't want to spoil nothing yet.
No, I can. Some other interviewers, you're not spoiling it. Some other interviewers and fans have written in saying you could be
Yeah, that was the question.
the mom. Yeah.
I was going to ask, what were your thoughts on that?
Oh,
Which, I mean,
I
obviously,
was.
I was going to say, obviously you would know, but would you think that your character could be that character?
Well, I was so excited because fans all along since 90. Yeah. Oh, yes. Well, one fan said because in the line where I go, what would Sydney want with Steve? She has her own bubble butt
Bubble butt
boyfriend, Billy.
boyfriend,
Like I could be envious of Nev that she's like the main girlfriend. And then the other layer, maybe that's why I'm trying to rein the cheerleader in from being so psychotically mean about Sydney, that I'm trying to be at least the more rational, reasonable one, and maybe a bit nicer in the scene. And one fan said maybe that's because the girl in bathroom feels guilty that she's running around with Billy. So I would love, of course, I would love to come back. That would be so fun, coming back in that particular way. I know fans I remember when Scream 2 came out, fans would say, oh, since you and the cheerleader are still alive, we hope you'll get to come back in one of the Screams. So people keep asking that. And now this new theory. So yes, I would jump at the chance for sure. One last thing, I just love all the fan theories. That's been so fun for me, just currently with the fifth Scream. And then just, I really didn't have much communication. Occasionally during the 25 years, a fan would ask for a signature, to mail a picture with a signature. But I was in a really bad, everyone's heard this, I was in really, really bad marriage in the early 2000s to a physically abusive husband. So I just really wasn't involved. Like, I don't know how the floodgates opened. I think a booking agent reached out to me this past summer to ask if I wanted to do conventions. And I said yes. And then that kind of got me into all these different horror groups on Facebook. And then that built up a huge fan base where they asked tons of fun questions about the girl in bathroom. Like, does she have a name? Did I get to keep my costume? And just really fun questions, but it's all really just happening since August to now. So
Well,
yeah, I would love.
One of those.
Oh, good.
Sorry. I was gonna say one of those conventions. If you see one called Spooky Empire, come to
Yeah.
that one.
I've heard about, I'm going to write it down just so I remember. I've heard, do you know what city or state that one's in?
It's in
That's in
Orlando, Florida,
And is that, now where are you guys located?
in Valdosta, Georgia.
And is Michael too?
Yeah.
Okay. So will you guys go to that one? Spooky.
Oh, we go to it every year.
Okay. Yeah, I have my new booking agent is with his company's Monster Entertainment Celebrity Appearances, and he's been doing it maybe 10 or 12 years. And I said, just pimp me out to all the conventions. So I'll mention Spooky Empire. The ones so far that have been confirmed are 4-state Comic-Con, like the number 4 state Comic-Con in Maryland. I should have brought my book with me. Do you want me to go get it to tell you the exact dates or no? No, I won't leave.
It don't really
It's like
matter.
what'd you say?
It don't really matter. I
No,
mean,
that one's like April 28th, 29th, and 29th, 30th, and the 1st. And then Tidewater Horror Convention in Virginia, the end of August in Norfolk, Virginia, and then Maryland Pop and Horror Convention in Maryland, and then possibly the agent just called about Carolina Fear Fest in
Oh,
North
yeah, I've heard that
Carolina.
one
yeah.
for sure. Heard of that.
And then there's one in Idaho where a convention owner reached out. So Idaho, another one called Southwest Florida Convention, Horror Convention.
I think I've heard of that one. Yeah.
So I'm just going to send all these possible ones. So the 3 that I mentioned that are confirmed, and then all these other possible ones. Convention owners just sometimes reach out directly. I'm so curious. I know Nev and Skeet and Matthew Lillard are doing a convention.
Yeah, I can't think of
Maybe-
where it's at, but yeah, I know they're doing one.
I
Is it maybe?
I was actually gonna say, I actually own a script that was owned by Matthew Lillard. I bought it from him from a convention, and he signed it, and it's got like all the rewritten parts that was in the movie that he had to handwrite and stuff. So I have that and was able to read some of that over, and that was
Yeah.
pretty cool too. So, and meeting him, he's a very nice guy. But were you ever able to meet Matthew Lillard and stuff on set as well?
So the first, so Matthew, I wish we could have intersected more. During the filming, I didn't meet Matthew Lillard. I did want to say I've heard from convention goers and fans that he's just amazing at the conventions and really great with the fans. And so I've heard great things about him. So I didn't cross paths with him until the wrap party when they were all finished filming. And so we saw it at the wrap party, it was the cast and crew. And then the premiere, there were so many people. So I actually ran into him post Scream, and I told, I can't remember where, it was in Beverly Hills. Oh, I'm so embarrassed to say, but I'll just say I was waiting tables at a little fancy restaurant in Beverly Hills, and Matthew Lillard was at one of my tables. And I was like, do I say anything? And then I was like, hey, I was the girl in bathroom, and he couldn't have been nicer, because that was maybe a year later, but just so sweet and nice. And he thought it was so funny that, that the girl in bathroom was his waitress. Then the first time I met Nev was at her screen test, and she was so sweet. She's, I didn't want to bother her, but she spoke to me while she was waiting to go on the set. And then the day of the bathroom scene, Nev was not there. They shot her reaction shots on a different day. So the people I got the closest to, the cheerleader, Leonora, I got really close to, and she was very good friends with a lot of the main cast. So she would, at the wrap party, she had me come sit with them. So I so I wouldn't say I got to spend time like with Courtney Cox. She's a really good drummer. So at the rap party, she got up on stage when the band left, and David Arquette was like
Yeah, I remember
emceeing.
the Friends music video. She plays the drums.
Yeah. And I was like, Courtney, you're amazing on the drums. And she was like, oh, I was off my game tonight. Something like that, but super nice. I got to know Skeet through Leonora. I got to go to know Skeet the best of the main cast.
Weren't they together at one point?
Yeah, so you're the first interviewer to ask, because I always want to make sure Leonora, if she wants to share that, but I know everyone knows. So yeah, they were living when we finished filming our scene, Leonora and I hung out a lot, and they were in the midst of moving. So while he was up in Santa Rosa, Leonora was like overseeing the moving. So they would invite me to parties at their house and Thanksgiving, and I have great pictures but they're all in storage. And that was how I got to know him well, was through Leonora. And then I remember our last day being up in Santa Rosa, Skeet and Leonora and I were eating lunch, and David Arquette had just arrived to the hotel to start filming. And I'll never forget, he had on like fancy black pants with like an orange and yellow stripe down the sides of the pants, and then a black fancy kind of blouse thing, a man blouse with like orange and yellow polka dots. And he was like, can I have some of your French fries? And I was like, sure. And he just was larger than life, a really colorful guy. And I was still so nervous because I'd only been living out in LA a few months when I moved out there at 22. And then the guy who played Kenny, W. Earl Brown, super nice guy. And then Henry Winkler, they had finished, we got there, the cheerleader and I, and they were just finishing shooting his death scene. So when he was finished, it was lunchtime. And when I first saw him, he had his principal white shirt on with a bunch of blood. And I was like, nice shirt. And that was my first time seeing him. And that was exciting because I used to always watch Happy Days. And and he had lunch with us, and he couldn't have been nicer. And so yeah, I one time so Rose McGowan, who they all were so good. I saw her at the rap party and premiere, but I didn't really have a conversation. But I did randomly, a good casting director friend of mine, maybe a year after Scream, somehow had become friends with Rose. And my friend called and she's like, I'm house sitting for Rose in her house, which is kind of this big, if I remember correctly, this big kind of spooky house, maybe in Venice. So I did spend the night in Rose's house, but when she wasn't there with her two little dogs. But yeah, the cheerleader and I have stayed in touch the whole time. And yeah, I think, let's see, I got to know Lisa Beach, the casting director, well, because she was on my flight up to Santa Rosa, and some of the producers well, and then my friend who was Wes's assistant, Julie. And then she went on when Scream 2, 3, and 4, she ended up being a producer on the subsequent films. But the crew guys and gals were all super nice. And it just was a great first movie experience for me. I had only, at the Performing Arts High School, I'd done little industrial films for the Department of Labor. So Scream was my first big movie, and it couldn't have been a nicer kind of entree into the business.
So going back to when you were filming, how long were you on set for? How long did it take?
Well, you'll be amazed. It only took, I always say, if I remember correctly, I think it only took half a day. Like maybe we started after Fonzie, maybe we started at like 11, and I feel like I have to ask the cheerleader, but I feel like we were done maybe by 7, and then he helped. So yeah, like a half a day. And then he held us, Wes Craven, through the weekend in case he would need any little pickup shots for that Monday. So it was fun because we still got to be up there. But I think we flew in. We got there on a Thursday and we were on the set by that Friday. And I actually only found out about getting cast as the girl in bathroom like on Wednesday. So they called me on Wednesday. They said, Wes has moved up the shooting schedule of the bathroom scene. And they asked, would I want to play the girl in bathroom? And I said, of course. So they had me booked. Yeah, that was a Wednesday. I was on a plane the next day, Thursday, on the set Friday. And then when we were there for the weekend, and then when he knew he didn't need us, I think we flew back to LA Monday or Tuesday. And I think initially, before being offered the girl in bathroom, I knew they wanted to cast me in the movie. There was a chance that I don't know if you remember of course, the end party scene at Stu's house. There are 2 girls, a blonde girl and a curly brunette or dark or black curly hair. And I might have been put into one of those roles. So then when they called about the girl in the bathroom, I was really shocked and excited. And I was going to say, Michael, everything of mine's in storage, but whenever I get my stuff out of storage, when I go to New York, my original script is there in storage, and it'll be fun because I haven't read it since I read it in '96, but it'll be fun to go back and look and see what Kevin Williamson changed to what it is, to what it became in 1996.
When you got your script, was it Scream or was it Scary Movie?
A scary movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I should have, they gave us at the end of filming, because I don't know when the Weinstein brothers, I think Harvey Weinstein was the one who had the idea to change the title to Scream. So at the end, they gave us a really beautiful, really cool black fleece like sweatshirt, and they had this ghost face mask, and they had Scream above the ghost face mask, and then a scary movie under the ghost face mask. And that was like right when they finished filming, maybe in June or July. So I'm curious, since it had both titles, I'd be curious to know like when exactly they switched the title. And I want to say, again, I'm such a small part of Scream, so I don't want to talk out of turn. But I think I was told, again, I could be wrong, that the Wayans brothers who made a scary movie, the parody films, that maybe they, in order to use the title, that maybe they paid Kevin Williamson to purchase the title for them to be able to use, but it could be totally wrong.
It could always be a possibility.
Yeah. At first, when they switched the title, I was so wedded to a scary movie. I just thought that was a cool title. But then, of course, I think Scream is a great title too. What do you guys think? Do you like a scary movie better or Scream?
Well, I kind of in hindsight, because of the scary movie that we got, I like Scream better.
Yeah.
Me too. So, coming to the conventions and stuff, and coming back, is it just like, like a breath of fresh air, like having people talk about it all these years later? Did you ever think that one little bit of scene would ever be famous all these years, 25 years later?
That's a huge shock to me. I knew the film, reading it, I knew the film would become the juggernaut it was. Like, that wasn't a shock to me. But I knew people would love the deranged cheerleader because of all of her theories, and teen suicide is out this year. Just her lines are so funny. So I really was so shocked just within these last few months that the girl in bathroom, well, that the bathroom scene resonates with people, and that there is an interest in the girl in bathroom. I'm just, it's been a big surprise, a super honor, and so nice to be invited to speak with you all. I've done a bunch of other interviews, and that's been so fun. And initially I was so embarrassed because I was like, why do you guys want to talk to the girl in bathroom? But the fans and the interviewers have said they really like that scene, that it gives good, like, expositional information about Neve Campbell and just how she's getting dumped on. Her mom's been killed. The killer's trying to chase after her. Then she hears the two mean girls in the bathroom saying, particularly the cheerleader, saying such awful things, which is just like one more thing that Neve Campbell has to go through. And then some fans, it's been interesting, have said the reason they liked that scene so much is that they themselves had been bullied in high school. So they could really relate to Nev's character and how upsetting that would be to hear the two bathroom girls gossiping together. So I thought that was a new thing I hadn't heard before, that some people were hit really deeply with the bullying aspect of the scene. But yeah, there's a cartoonist guy. Want to figure out how, I'm so new with social media, like how to share and post, but this great caricature artist posted on Instagram these amazing caricatures of me as the girl in bathroom, like cartoon caricatures, and then Leon, the cheerleader, and he put some of our lines in like a caption bubble.
I think I've seen it. Yeah.
Have you seen it on it?
I think so.
He made my mole, he makes so huge, which I think it's so atrocious, but I think it's so funny. But I asked him, I said, can I post these on Facebook? Of course, with crediting him. So I haven't gotten them up there, but some convention people have said it would be fun if that artist would allow me to use the caricatures, like to run off a ton of those for convention people, if they wanted that picture specifically, that I could sign that picture. But I wish you all could see the screen banner.
Yeah, I can see it.
Such a huge screen banner that my dad got, because I was thinking just to bring that. Usually they provide everything screen wise for your stall or booth or whatever, even though this will be the first time going to conventions. But I think this banner is so great that I was going to ask my booking agent, do you guys want to use this one? And my dad, in 1996, I flew home from LA to see it in the movie theater with a bunch of family friends, December 20th. And my dad, he went up, he saw the big, huge, it's like those fabric-y laminated banners, so not like the thin poster. And he asked the theater manager, he's like, my daughter's in the movie, could we possibly have the banner? And the theater manager was like, sure, totally, and just gave it to my dad. And I always just had it rolled up, because in LA and New York, I had small apartments, and then I was living in New York for living in LA for 5 years, then New York for 12 years. And particularly my apartment in New York was small. So I always just kept it rolled up. So now with all these interviews, I'm like, Dad, we're finally, the banner is coming in. I mean, I always loved having it, but if I ever live in some ginormous house, I didn't really have anywhere to put it. So I hung it there, and my parents have been so nice to just let me leave it there, because the interviews have been happening every week. So, but the one thing I think is fun is at the bottom, it says, make your last breath count.
Yeah.
Did you ever see one of those ones?
I had when I was younger, I had a scrapbook. Like if I saw an ad, I'd cut it out and put it in my scrapbook. I think I have it somewhere packed up, but that was the only Scream one that I ever had, was like that poster, and I saw it had that at the bottom.
at the bottom.
Mhm.
Did you say I missed at the beginning? Did you cut it out of the newspaper, like the ad that was used?
It was, I think it was a magazine, actually. It could have been
Oh, I didn't-
Wizard magazine, which is like a comic book magazine. I think
That's
I cut
so
it out of there. I think
I
so.
didn't think when it came out, I didn't think to cut out any of the newspaper ads. People have asked, did I keep my costume? I didn't think to ask to keep the beautiful high-waisted khaki pants, but now convention people are saying it would be so fun if the cheerleader and I came in our costumes.
And
That would
take
be fun.
photos.
Yeah, and take
They
photos.
love to take photos. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
I've paid for pictures like that at Spooky Empire for sure. So I would definitely be one of those people.
Yeah, no, I had I known that I didn't, I always knew about Comic-Con, but I didn't know about horror, the huge, I mean, I know there's a huge horror film community, but I didn't know that the horror film community had their own conventions. Because had I known all of that, I totally would have asked to keep the green berets, the purple shirt, the beautiful flattering khaki pants, the little mini backpacks that you can see just briefly. The cheerleader has a black mini backpack and I have like a brown one. I did keep those, but now I don't. They must have ended up somewhere else. But I don't think it would be easy to get a pair of khaki pants and a purple top. And I'm sure Leonora could find a very similar, the royal blue cheerleader outfit. So
Yeah, that would be really cool if y'all like came to Spooky Empire and did that. That would be really cool. I'd get that picture.
Oh, yeah, me, sure,
I'd
me
dress
too.
up like Randy. I'd have to dress up like Randy. 'Cause
dress up like Randy.
that was
I
my
remember,
favorite character.
is he your favorite, Randy?
He was until he got killed in the second one. I mean, he still was, but it was kind of funny. I went and saw that. I was 12. Went and saw it the weekend it came out. And the moment Randy died in Scream 2, I got up and walked out to the bathroom. And then I was just kind of mad, like you would have thought that somebody I knew got killed. And then when I went back in to finish the movie, Dewey, quote unquote, is getting killed. I was like, well, they're just gonna kill everybody in this movie. And then of course Dewey comes back and at the end he's like, oh, I'm still alive. Ooh. I was like, what about Randy?
What about bring Randy back? It is set. They were such a good ensemble. Those main characters, they were just so good together. I know they had bonded really well, just off camera, all being in the same hotel. And I thought each of them were so good in their roles and with Courtney Cox. But yeah, I remember. So it was the second one where Randy
Yeah.
perished. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Like
remember
halfway through the movie.
I remember I kind of, tell me if you guys agree or not. I kind of wish the cast could just keep coming back alive. Like just bring Skeet back, bring Matthew Lillard back. I know that would be far-fetched and real, but I just thought they had such good chemistry together.
Yeah.
And then David Arquette with Courtney Cox.
Well, I know they find a way to bring people back. I mean, not necessarily characters, but Matthew Lillard was in the background at the sorority party, in Scream 2. And apparently, and it's not a spoiler, but in Scream, the new one, he plays Ghostface in the Stab movies. You see, like, they're watching Stab 8 or whatever. He's got like a silver Ghostface mask and he's got a flamethrower. They're like talking about how crazy the sequels got. And apparently that's Matthew Lillard. And they brought Drew Barrymore back to do a
right,
voice.
for the voice, some of the voice.
I think
lines.
she's a teacher, the voice of a teacher. Jamie Kennedy came back. I can't remember what for, but it's kind of like they find ways to bring them back and like stick them in the background or just do like voiceover. So
Did they since I'm not, was it Scream 3 where they were going to bring back Matthew Lillard as the killer, but somehow the script got leaked, so they had to change that whole ending?
I think
what
it's from
because
Columbine,
of
from
the-
what I heard.
Yeah, it's the
Because of-
Columbine shootings.
Oh,
And they had
that-
to tone down the violence. So if you watch that movie, people get stabbed like once, or you don't see it, and it's. I mean, that doesn't make the movie good, but when you make two gory movies, and then you do the third movie, which is supposed to be the final one, and you kind of tone down the violence and make it kind of weak, it
yeah.
kind of messes with it.
Did you all see? I remember I read this recently that Bob Weinstein, in order to get the R rating and not get an NC-17 rating, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, that he went to the studio and said, "Oh, it's a comedy," and kind of left out that it was, a horror / comedy. But did you all ever remember seeing not the one released to the movie theaters, but there is a version where Casey Becker's boyfriend, like his guts are literally
Yeah.
kind of falling out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have it because I don't know how it got out, but when they put it out for sale, they put they had the normal poster, which had like Skeet Ulrich and Drew Barrymore, had all them on it. Then they had three more that was just like the face of Drew Barrymore, and then one of Nev Campbell and one of Courtney Cox, where it's kind of like black and blue. Those black and blue ones have the NC-17 version where her boyfriend, you see his guts spill out. It's slower when it zooms up to her on her death scene. And then what is it? Like a little bit more of when Kenny gets his throat slashed. And then you see like a second or two more of when Rose McGowan gets her head crushed. And and also Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard, they like stab each other more at the end.
Tell me, when I saw the NC-17, I kind of liked that. What about you? Did you prefer that version?
I do, because when I bought it on Blu-ray, DVD, they had a trilogy box set, and I bought a DVD player, or I got the DVD player and the DVD trilogy box set for Christmas. And then I watched it on DVD, and I was like, oh, it's in widescreen. I can see stuff that I couldn't see on the video. And then it's like, oh, well, they cut that out. Oh, they cut that. Oh.
So,
it's still a great
question.
movie, but
Would it
it's
happen to
different.
be this one right here?
Yep, that's it.
And that's the NC-17 one?
Yep.
I got it from
Okay.
Goodwill for 25 cents.
Are you serious? Yeah, because I think I just have the regular DVD. So that I need to get that one.
Yeah.
So what I need to do with this, Nancy, is I need to send this to you so you can sign it for me.
Well, I would be thrilled. Totally. Because I think my first booking agent said he had some stuff he was like, can I mail it to you to sign? And I was like, totally. Yeah. I can Facebook you my address and all of that. Because that would be my signature to you, would be the very first one that I've
Hey.
done. Yeah, the one, like I said, the ones that people over the years had asked, like in 2010, that was during the bad marriage. And so I feel bad. And it was only a few people, but I felt really badly because I just wasn't in a place. So your item will be the first signature.
Oh, I'm excited for that one.
I was going to tell you, tell me if you think this is interesting. Because Leonora was dating Skeet, what I thought was cool was when he arrived up to the hotel like that Saturday after we were done, and he decorated his whole hotel room with super like dark posters to get him in the mind of playing the serial killer. So just he kind of blanketed the walls with Leonora was telling me this. I didn't see it with my own eyes, but that he made it kind of a layer for Billy to help him get into character. And I thought that was cool. And the other thing, I don't know if you all read this. I remember Leonora telling me this as well, that initially the costumer wanted to put Skeet in like make him like a football jock. So in like the varsity football jacket, and that Skeet was like, oh no. And that he kind of stood up for himself and was the one, he's like, I just want jeans and like a white t-shirt. And I thought that was cool, just that he advocated for himself, for the character, because I personally wouldn't have liked if they made him look like a
No.
stereotypical.
I think that would have not necessarily ruined the character, but he wouldn't be as, it sounds weird because he's a serial killer, make him as likable.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I watched, we were talking about it before we started, but when Scream came out, it was the Friday the 13th before it came out. I was watching Up All Night or Monster Vision with Joe Bob Briggs, and Friday the 13th there was on, of course, because they actually showed those movies on TV on Friday the 13th back in the 90s. But every commercial break was a Scream commercial, and I was like, I'm so tired of hearing about this Scream movie. And I didn't go, I was 11, so I wasn't going to, like, my parents weren't going to take me to go see it anyway, unless I begged to see it, and I wasn't begging to see it. So that summer when it came out and you couldn't find it in any rental store, when we finally found it, I sat there and watched it and kind of hate watched it, but then got into it. And then I was like, oh, well, this Billy guy, this Johnny Depp dude is clearly the killer. But then he kind of became likable. And then, right before he quote unquote dies, I was like, no, he's not the killer. I was like, oh, well, yeah, he's not the killer because he's right. The killer's right behind him.
Right.
So, and then he came back and I was like, yeah, he's back. I was like, oh, yeah, he is the killer. Well, how did that happen? And then like a split second later, there's Matthew Lillard, and he's revealed to be the killer too. I was like, oh.
Have you all ever, that's the first time since my horror viewing is pretty limited. Have you ever seen that in another film where the two killers are like stabbing each other to try to mislead the audience that they're not in on it together?
I want to say it was done before but I can't think of anything.
I can't think of any other movie as popular as Scream that has done that though.
If it was because Scream was kind of like, it was like the time of Tarantino, and Tarantino's not exactly the most original person. He borrows from things that he likes, and that's kind of what Kevin Williamson did, because there's a lot of Halloween, a lot of Suspiria, When a Stranger Calls, Black Christmas in there, but he takes it all into a melting pot and makes something really good.
Yeah.
So that, I want to say there was something like that, but no, not as big as Scream at the time.
I mean, that scene where Nev, they're she's on the bed, and then Matthew Lillard comes behind. I mean, they're literally stabbing. The characters just stabbing each other so deeply that I mean, of course, I knew it happened from the script, but I just thought it played so well that then the audience thinks, oh, it can't be Skeet. Oh, Rich. And then in the kitchen when they're stabbing each other back and forth, it's just craziness. So I thought for audiences that would be such a fun thing, because you wouldn't suspect that there'd be two of them. There was something you said. Okay, before I feel so stupid. Ghostbuster, you're Eric.
Yes.
And Michael's the earplugs. Okay, because I was worried I mixed it up. Okay, Eric Ghostbuster, Michael. And your last name is Corleone?
Corleone, yeah.
Corleone. Are you related to Corleone? Are you related to Marlon Brando and Al Pacino?
No, that would be great. My father actually had that name before the movie, so it's just like growing up, he probably got the same kind of thing. I know all growing up, it helped me get out of a ticket once too. So I never complained about my name.
It's such, you're the first person. Yeah, when you first wrote, I was like, Corleone. I immediately thought of The Godfather. I've never met a real Corleone.
Yep. And it's funny because you'll see people that do have that name on Facebook, but I'm like, that's not really your legal name. It's my actual legal name.
Yeah, yeah. That's so cool. Has it been fun? We said it got you out of a driving ticket. Has it been fun just having that name all growing up?
Oh yeah, yeah. It made teachers, even though, I wasn't the nicest and best kid in school and, wasn't really good at school, but teachers were like, "Oh, his name's Michael Corleone. We'll leave him alone." So they they never really bothered me on that sense. But yeah, I've always enjoyed my name. It's helped me out.
Yeah, I was so excited. Just see every time we would message back and forth, I was like, there's Corleone. I can't believe I said Corleone. But yeah, I was like, there's Michael Corleone. When I look at you, you look like, I hope you take I was in a little short film called Dead Stars, and you look like the actor's name is Richard Tayloe, Tayloe. He's not a star, but he's on Facebook. So but you could be twin brothers. So as I'm looking at you, I'm thinking of Richard, but yeah, it was a little 30-minute short film, and he played the boyfriend of one of the main girls. I have had big parts in small movies, and then two small parts in, Scream, obviously, and then another movie called Storytelling. But my IMDb is so embarrassing because it's so few credits, and I have a really good TV writer friend in LA. And at the time when I was first in New York, he's like, your career's going really well. He's like, you get a movie part like every 5 or 6 years, and which made me laugh so hard. And then I met my ex-husband on a little independent film called Charlie's Party. But then once I was with him, the physical abuse started. So my credit, I'm always so embarrassed that my credits kind of end on IMDb like in 2005. I have a great theater resume, but I need to do some sort of website. But I hope to get back up to New York within the next year, and then just start auditioning again and getting back into it, because I've been out of it for so long. I might even go into pornography as an older lady in pornography, adult entertainment. An old lady adult entertainment.
There's a field for it, I guess.
Wait, what did you say again?
I said there's a field for it, but that makes no sense. I meant there's a
Market.
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 That's what I meant.
Have you ever seen old lady porn films?
I don't think I have.
And old men.
Honestly, probably. I'm a weird. I've probably seen it. I've seen everything on the internet that you can think of. So whatever it is, people are like, "Oh, like that." It's like, yeah, I've probably seen it. Yeah.
I've never, as we were talking about it, I was like, I've never seen, of the pornography I've seen, it's always been, young 20-somethings or Pamela Anderson Lee and Tommy Lee. I was like, oh, maybe older people would be funny. Did you all ever see the movie Boogie Nights?
Yep.
Did you like Dirk Diggler?
Well, I saw it around the time it came out, which one was when I was 12. I haven't seen it since. So I don't remember the movie. I remember certain things about the movie. I remember Alfred Molina did some kind of drugs and was trying to shoot Thomas Jane, and I don't know. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. So
a good actress friend of mine dated Thomas Jane when we were in LA. This friend I met, we were doing a McDonald's commercial, and she had just broken up. She and Thomas Jane had just broken up, but we were all in the same acting class together. So I remember Thomas Jane, he was dating at that point Olivia Dabo, like
Mm-hmm.
D quote, yeah, from the
Yeah.
Wonder Years. And okay, so we all spent Halloween together, and then I'm totally name dropping. But the guy, did you ever see American History X?
Yes.
Oh yes,
Edward Norton. So if you remember, so Thomas Jane's, they were best friends. The actor's name is Alex, and then Sol, SOL. He played the head prison guy that had it out for Edward Norton, and he was, if you watch it, but he had like a rifle, like his haircut would like had rifles in it or rifle tattoos.
Yeah.
But he had just done American History X, and so it was just fun being in this just random acting class. And oh, I did, speaking of porno, when I went to the Sundance Film Festival, I went for a film called Storytelling that had Selma Blair, Paul Giamatti, John Goodman, Robert Wisdom, Julie Haggerty. But I met, I was like at lunchtime or whatever. Do you know Jenna Jameson?
Mm-hmm.
That name?
yeah, for sure.
So this was 2002, and I didn't know the guy I was just started dating. He knew who she was, but she couldn't have been nice. I mean, she was teeny with ample breasts, but super teeny everywhere else. And she was with the boyfriend, and so it was the first time I'd ever heard her name or met her, but she couldn't have been nicer. And just this real petite little thing, but it was kind of exciting. And then when I flew home back to New York, I was like, let me look her up and see her. But they make her up. They make her put so much makeup on her. She doesn't, to me, look like she did at seeing her at Sundance. She's super cute and pretty, but I almost didn't recognize her I didn't watch any of her pornos. I just looked at her pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys like her, or is she?
I kind of got out of that. I got out of that when I was like when I was a teenager. It was like, oh yeah, boobies and stuff like that. But then I got out of it. So
Yeah. And you guys are younger. She wouldn't have been like, probably 2002 was her maybe big time. I don't know.
Yeah, I was 17 at that time. So yeah.
But yeah, that's my only brush with adult entertainer.
Well, it's definitely been fun to have you on the show. If we ever do one again, with the cheerleader, we'd love to have you both come on together as well. It's been really great talking with you and your experiences, and just overall, just the memories that you have that you're able to share with us is so great. We want to thank you for that. Not only us, but all the fans that watch this, they want to thank you as well for this.
Well, thank you so much. It was so fun being with you and Eric, and you guys are so nice, and I really appreciate you've just been so nice to me. So this was great fun for sure. And I love. Can you stand to see your t-shirt?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
And it says and on the bottom it says scary movies and chill.
A scary movie. I love that. Where do you remember where you did you order it online or eBay or a novelty shop?
They're at Spencer's. Like you can get it, like if you go to Spencer's right now, they have a whole Scream line of clothing.
Oh wow, that's so cool. Well, I sure love being with you guys. So do I just click, or maybe I just click X in the upper right hand corner, I guess. I'll try that. Okay, I'll miss you guys.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on.
Bye. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.